to Mark unhappy.
I picked that up, actually.
Well, look at Greg Murphy. No doubt about it. Todd Kelly let Greg Murphy by. Greg is in a higher position in the championship, and there's a lot at stake for the Kiwi now. He's starting to apply the blowtorch. Look at this. Bit of a hiccup here with the HRT.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Elbow to elbow.
Yeah, really. That's not in the script, is it?
No.
I bet old Jeff Greg's down there going...
Look at the two Kmart cars as well in stereo. Look at this.
Well, Todd Kelly on the inside here. Greg has better track position and goes right on through. Thank you very much. And now Todd can protect him a little. There's Jeff Greg. What's happening, boys? What's going on out there?
Should put a heart rate monitor on him more than any of the drivers. Look at this attack under brakes. Very, very skatey under brakes goes Jason Bright. He's got the Kmart Commodore right up behind him.
Yeah, Brighty had the rears locked up a bit going on into one then, and he's coming under pressure because the guy that's actually getting stuck into a bit is Lowndes.
He's flying, Lowndes.
Well, Jeff Greg, you're getting more grey hairs by the second as you watch this, are you not?
I don't know about grey hairs, Rushy, but it's all going to fall out by the end of the race, I think.
What's the plan of attack here? What have you said to the boys?
Sorry,
What's the plan of attack? What have you said to the boys?
Well, the plan of attack was obviously to get to the last 5 laps, but obviously they had second thoughts while they were out in the circuit. So, but look, we'll just press on and see how we go.
He's busy, boys. He's got plenty to watch. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Scaife is pressing on, and Bright has fallen back into the clutches of Greg Murphy. Watch this. Murphy's very good onto the main straight and down into turn 1. He almost made a move on the last lap. Watch what he can come up with this time.
Jeff spoke for 90 seconds and said nothing.
He's classic, though. He's got such
Look at this, look at this. A lot of speed on this Kmart car. We go on board as Jason Bright starts to fall into the clutches of Greg Murphy. Hard under brakes into Holden turn. 1, 2, 3. Go the TWR Commodores, and Murphy is looking dangerous.
Greg's car is behaving a little better. There's no question. Oh, and I think that was Scaife locked up on the way into turn 2. But no doubt that Murphy's car is just behaving a little better, and he gets a benefit from the hole punched in the air by Bright.
Currently, Murphy is 4th in the Shell Championship Series, but it is mathematically possible for him to finish 2nd in this year's series, and that's exactly what he wants.
Up the back straight, 255 kilometres an hour. Murphy in the slipstream of the number 2 Holden Racing Team Commodore. They touch the brakes, swing hard left. Scaife now opening up a bit of a gap on his teammate, but it's really tough back in this fight for second.
Look at Lowndes. Look at it. Lowndes is going on.
Todd Kelly's driving well. He's handling that pressure. Craig Lowndes, very forceful. The Gibson Motorsport Falcon has certainly run well in this first race. 2 more races tomorrow. Don't forget, we're coming to you from Sandown 1 to 5 Eastern tomorrow afternoon with 2 150-kilometre events.
I think your team boss, Bob Forbes, will be happy with this, Neil, because he wanted to get Craig up in the top 5 for the start of race 2.
Well, it's certainly important to always be in the first half dozen cars if you can be there. It gives you an opportunity to go out and perform at the sharp end of the field. Your options open up far more than when you're buried in the midfield, no question of that.
Look at this. Greg Murphy's got the blowtorch blazing here on Jason Bright. His mirror's full of Kmart Commodore. Gets a little bit untidy as he bounces over the inside, then the outside curve. Headlights on. And he's got to get a good run out of here. The message is turn your headlights on. Maximum intimidation from the Kmart crew.
I reckon that Jason might be suffering from a little bit of understeer with that car, and he's now deciding to curb hop to try and just assist the car to get... Oh, look at the understeer. He's
gone! Bright goes off the circuit. Murphy says, thank you, I'll take second. He has a brief lock-up, keeps it all together. Here comes Kelly. Oh, Bright has come to a halt. Something's happened to Bright's car, and evasive action was taken by Kelly and Bright.
What on earth happened there? He came almost to a standstill. Look, he's getting back to speed now.
It's like he couldn't get a gear or something.
But you can see graphically from that shot on Greg Murphy's car, Jason Bright just went a little bit deeper under brakes that time over the top. It was too deep, and he lost control through the S's.
Where's all that?
Kelly.
Kelly's car.
He may have made contact. Yep. Slight contact with the rear of Jason Bright's car. It's just enough to rub the guard on the tyre.
Oh, yeah. That's quite a lot of contact.
Yeah, rear, I think it is. It's rear right.
It's rear right.
That scattered the pack, didn't it? Old Brighty, he was dog paddling to hang on, and then all chaos left, right and centre.
Here's the replay. What do you make of this, Neil?
Just went in too deep.
He couldn't get the car to turn in down there, and then once you go wide, there's marbles all over the road, dust, dirt, bits of rubber, debris. Car gets cranked sideways. But let's see what happens further back. You see that Murph locks up a little bit at Dandenong Road. Now, what happens here with Jace? He just goes
that's
nowhere.
where Kelly hits him.
Yeah, that's where Kelly swiped him in the world's biggest sprint car slide.
And where did Radicic go? Radicic has disappeared from the screen. Now he comes back on.
Yeah, he was having his own accident.
I tell you what, that would have got Jason's heart rate up a bit, wouldn't it?
And Kelly.
So things looking good for Greg Murphy in his relentless surge to try and get second in this championship. He's falling into his lap at the moment, but he's had Mark Scaife in his gun sights. Fantastic battle in the V8 Ultimate at Sandown.
You ride with Craig Lowndes in the Gibson Motorsport Ford, the AU XR8. He's tried everything on Todd Kelly, but can't find a passage through. Perhaps this is his opportunity now, whilst that rear guard is rubbing on the right rear tyre. The Kmart Commodore continues to go strong, though.
13.3 for race leader Scaife, 13.1 for Murphy, 13.8 for Kelly. Oh, problems here for Jason Bright, continuing to struggle in car 2.
More chaos. Larkham off the road.
So Jason Bright, that whole plan has gone pear-shaped for HRT at the moment.
Radicic was off again there as well. The two FTR Falcons have got by him, and now Jason Barguana's lining up for a shot as well.
There's people in tyre trouble out there.
I was going to say this is what we were saying at the beginning. It's interesting, isn't it, now, because it's into totally unknown territory, and as far as tyre wear.
I guess people don't equate Sandown as being a particularly tough circuit on tyres, Neil, but there's so much low-speed power down work. I guess if you're not careful, you can really fry them up.
Well, I made that point a little earlier in the telecast, Mark. You've got 3 critical areas here where you feed 600 horsepower through these relatively small tyres. Very easy to generate a lot of wheel spin. If you think back to the 500k races here years ago, well, the only place in the country where you always saw people having transmission-related problems, gearboxes, clutches, diffs, all sorts of driveline issues, and that's because it's that sort of place.
I'm down here with the new signing for Stone Brothers Racing, Wayne Gardner, a 3-car outfit for you next year. Welcome back to touring car racing in Australia.
Yeah, thanks, Grant. It's wonderful to be here, and it's nice to be back with the V8s again. But I'm just down here on a PR exercise today, just to or back up to what the news was out the other day that I've now joined the Stone Brothers Racing team with Caltech's backing. And I'm really looking forward to that next year. But it's only a limited outing at this stage. I think we're at 5 or 6 races next year, and we've got to sit down and work out the calendar. But it's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
After the performance we saw 2 years back in the FTR car, I suppose you're keen to get back in and stamp your name at Australian racing as well.
Oh, yeah, I've got a bit of unfinished business here in Australia, and I've been away motor racing in Japan, and I'll continue to do that next year with the GT series. But I think I've learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to putting that into practice tomorrow. So, next year. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge. That should be great.
We'll see you in 2002.
Can't wait.
Chief spends that much time in Japan. I'm surprised he can speak English anymore.
Craig Lowndes now has Todd Kelly in his sights. Lowndes is looking right down the barrel at 3rd position. That's the Kmart car 15. Todd Kelly. He's only got Greg Murphy and Mark Scaife ahead of him. Oh,
Radicic off.
Oh, dear.
That's the last corner.
Stephen Johnson got past Radicic as well a couple of laps ago. If you look at Ingles' time now, Ingles...
Longhurst smoking, and I reckon Ingles all over the back of Lowndes. It looks like he's making a bit of a pace comeback. And damage on the right rear for Tony's car. Radicic was having trouble grabbing reverse down there in the final corner as he tried to climb back on.
So with 13 laps left to run here at Sandown, and Longhurst gets out of shape. The order is Scaife, Murphy, Kelly, Lowndes, Ingle, Ambrose, Seaton, Bright, Barguana and Richards. That's the top 10.
Here's the replay, and one of the FTR cars has made a dive. I think it's Stephen must have gone up the inside of Paul. Very slowly.
Really.
Waiting.
Very slow-mo replay. There's Matthew White. Yep. That's the ex-Dale Breed Commodore. And not a good weekend for Matt so far. Greg Murphy, though, trying to track down Mark Scaife, Todd Kelly. The big movers, Craig Lowndes and Russell Ingle coming into the picture now. Marcus Ambrose, Glenn Seaton and Jason Bright having a shocker.
Further back, Steve Johnson trying to put his press on the top 10. More after this. Craig Lowndes making the move on Todd Kelly. That was good enough to get him up into the top 3, and Lowndes has remained there ever since. Jason Barguana and Stephen Richards, one former Valvoline team driver and the current one. They were having a nice old scrap, but Stephen Richards was turned around and dropped quite a few positions. Mark Scaife continues to lead this first of 3 150-kilometre events, and he goes from strength to strength. 3.2 seconds he has over Greg Murphy, and we have just heard that Greg Murphy has been handed down a stop-go penalty for curb hopping. So the second place driver will be absolutely livid.
Here he comes down pit lane very, very slowly. 40 km/h speed limit imposed by the onboard speed limiting device on every car. And here he comes slowly up to the stop-go penalty area, gets the green. Let's have a look where he rejoins relative to the rest of the field.
In Seaton going through,
and Garth. So
as Bargwanna goes through, so he's 10th. He's rejoining 10th.
Yep.
2nd to 10th. It doesn't help the championship points.
They did issue a bulletin about it's not the curb hopping, it's flattening the hats, running over the hats. Right. And I need to reread it and double check the wording. But the idea was that people had one life and then they'd be given a warning, and then if they went over the top of them again, that was it. Bradley's been a big mover. This is kind of Bathurst form revisited for him. He's obviously done a good job with his group of people to keep the car working well on all 4 tyres and keeping life in the rears, and so he's now battling onto the back of Stephen. He's 11th, and he's looking pretty menacing here at the moment. The car, once again, not real strong in qualifying, but it's a great race car.
Well, to highlight the outstanding performance from Jones and the Aussie Male Falcon, he started 23rd and is 11th, so he's made up 12 positions and really pressuring Steve Johnson. Perhaps could break into the top 10, and we only have 3 laps to go here at Sandown.
The good thing is for Craig Lowndes, from Murphy's stop-go penalty, this puts this man up into 2nd place. And if he finishes there, he'll start on the outside of the front row alongside Mark Scape. That'll be a thrilling moment.
Well, the old gods are shining down on Russell today, aren't they? With Murph getting his legs slapped and
Bright making a mistake.
Yeah, exactly that.
So to update that, of those 3 that are dicing, dueling for the runner-up position in the championship, Ingle now takes top status. He's sitting 4th on the road. There he is right there behind Todd Kelly. So it's Scaife, Lowndes, Kelly, Ingle, Ambrose, the top 5.
Moment. Rob Crawford in particular does.
So Kelly continues to grind on. It'll be a very strong performance from the 22-year-old to finish on the podium here at Sandown. And what is effectively his rookie season, it's been a marvellous performance from him. He continues to learn the craft of V8 Supercar racing as we now begin the closing couple of laps here at Sandown. 2 to go.
Gee, Murphy will be frustrated by that stop-go penalty. We were just trying to do the sums on him. It closed the gap to Jason Bright in championship points by about half. So it was really on a march there in terms of closing in on that 2nd place in the Shell Series, which would have been a brilliant finish for the team in their first year under TWR. But now he's got to work very hard. Look at him fighting back here.
Coming past Bargwanna, he's got 9th now. 8th now, yeah.
So up to 8th. Murphy continuing to grind forward. As Neil Crompton said a number of times, this is a very tough weekend. 3 150-kilometre races with the starting grid for the next race determined by the previous one. So if Murphy can continue this relentless push, he could find his way well up the grid by the time this event is over tomorrow.
Neil, when you see how hard Murph's going now and seeing how good the car is, I mean, that is a really good motor car, isn't it?
It is an excellent motor car, and he's also been driving it well. And be interesting to see what 1 lap to go now for Mark Scape. It'd be interesting to see whether or not he was given a warning about leaping over the hats. The difficulty, of course, with the stop-go is that there's no way of undoing it. Once the damage is done, it's done. You can't argue about it afterwards. It's summary justice on the spot.
5.3 seconds. Mark Scafe is simply cruising. So this one will be another victory in the bag. That will make it win number 9 for season 2001 for the back-to-back Shell Series champion. And a very, very strong performance. Good opening stint. Stayed out longer than most. It's a great pit stop. A 9.9 second pit stop by the HRT outfit. Very, very slick in every sense of this race.
And it's been fastest on virtually every lap of the race, hasn't it, really?
So half a lap to go. Scaife from Lowndes, the former teammates, now rivals. And back in 3rd, Todd Kelly. So Scaife is bringing it home in the first of 3 races for the V8 Ultimate. Last year at the sprint round here at Sandown, It was a Ford banquet. Well, Mark Skaife is changing that right here and now for 2001. We've got 2 big ones to come tomorrow, but he starts the weekend with a victory. Mark Skaife takes out race 1 at the V8 Ultimate in fine style. 5.3 seconds, the margin of victory. Craig Lowndes comes across the line, and that's an encouraging performance from Craig Lowndes, and Todd Kelly will finish on the podium. So, well done to Mark Skaife. Another fine victory, and Lowndes will be inspired by his performance after starting from 14th, finishing 2nd. The Shell Helix race score indicates those positions. Russell Ingall, a very good performance in 4th. Jason Bright worked his way up to 5th. Ambrose, Seaton and Murphy in the top 8. Back to 9th, Jason Bargwanna managed to remain in the top 10. And Brad Jones was there as well. Don't forget, 2 races tomorrow, 150 kilometres each. We've run out of time here at Sandown. Thanks for joining us on your home of motorsport. Join us tomorrow from 1 Eastern. See you then.